There's a lot of Americans that care about China these days for all kinds of reasons. I'm Darrel Cummings, and I live in Los Angeles. I'm the Chief of Staff of the Los Angeles LGBT Center. The center started actually in 1969 when a group of volunteers came together to start providing services to our community. And over time, it's grown till today and is the largest LGBT organization in the world. This program is about 9 years old, and it started when an organization in China called iBuy approached us about trying to provide some assistance to young people who were becoming involved in the community and had the potential to become strong leaders. So we started there as an experiment, and it has grown to a vital program in the LGBT community in China, but it's also taught us here in the United States some lessons that we need to learn about our global community. Well, I think in the United States we tend to think that we're the center of the universe. And you don't have to travel far outside of the borders of the US to learn that that's not true. And here we are working with a country that's the most populous in the world, where the LGBT community, if it were a single country, would be about the 13th largest country in the world. We recognize that our community has many commonalities, and it also has many cultural differences. If we are not working beyond our boundaries, then we are not really working on behalf of the LGBT community everywhere. I probably have been to around 15 cities in China. I think it's easier for someone outside of China to see how quickly things are advancing than it is for people that are in China working on these issues every day. So the difference in just a few number of years has been remarkable. And I always say to people in China, your movement now is growing faster and developing quicker than our movement ever did. But I would say the one big difference between the US movement and the Chinese movement is that our opposition was really religious-based. And in China, that's not the case. But there is a very strong cultural history that has the family at its core, and where children have responsibilities to their parents to, for example, get married and have offspring. And with a one-child policy, that's made even more difficult because all the pressure is on one child. And that's something that we didn't have to deal with in the United States. So those cultural differences are real. And it makes some things impossible to translate, and there's no reason why they should translate. But I also think we as a community have so much in common with each other across every single boundary. I mean, I always joke around about when I go to China, I can find a gay guy at a hair salon anywhere in China, and there's no mistaking. And the things that we face about, for example, the difficulty of coming out, well, while those fall into a different cultural context, the basis of it is exactly the same. We have to both come to terms with who we are as LGBT people, and we have to understand that that is normal and that is good. And then we have to communicate that to other people. We can learn as much from each other as human beings as we can from each other's movements. And one of the reasons that I like working in the LGBT community is that we actually represent everybody. We're old people and we're young people, and we're men and we're women, and we're rich and we're poor, and we're of every ethnicity, so that our work actually elevates all of society. I feel like that I'm doing work that is not strictly about my own advancement and protection and rights, but it is about something much bigger than that. Well, I'm gay. Yes, I'm 100% gay. I realized I was about 5 years old. Well, I worried about it for a really long time. I wrote down a whole speech that I was going to give them, and how horrible this news was that I had to tell them, but that, I'd done some research, and it was a really long, complicated thing. I ended up saying, let's go have a drink. And I took them to a bar. I was prepared to give my speech, and I just blurted out, I'm gay. I was silent at first. And then my father said something that really surprised me. He said, well, I've always thought so. And I was puzzled by that reaction, because I was thinking to myself, well, you already thought so, you should have said something to me. It would have made this a lot easier. But my mother, she burst into tears pretty immediately. By the end of that evening, they both concluded that regardless of what they didn't understand about homosexuality or me being gay, that the most important thing to them was our relationship. That should take a superior position to anything else, that they loved me, I loved them, and preserving that was of greater value than anything else. And of course, once you cross that hurdle, everything else becomes a lot easier. My mother would, I think she likes my husband more than she does me, and always introduces him as her son, and I think she's very proud of our relationship for exactly what it is. So to the LGBT community in China, I'd just like you to know that we at the LGBT Center in Los Angeles and around people around the country are with you. We got your back, we're supporting you, we're counting on you, and we want to encourage you to keep doing the things that you're doing that are going to make life so much better in such a short period of time, not only for LGBT people, but for the Chinese culture in general. So keep it up and smile and have fun and make change, and we're right there with you.